Well, that was an interesting intro, Tom. Welcome to SloanTv. We're here. This is August 25th. We're here on MIT's campus in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Woo! Yes! All right. So, if you're joining us live, what you should do immediately after the show is go to our blog. Go to blog.sloantv.com and either sign up to follow the blog or post a comment. In fact, do both.
Excellent idea.
So,
let's kick it off with headlines.
What have we got on tap this week? First headline, the web is dead.
Okay, Tom, we're on
Web is dead.
Tom, we're on the web.
It's
we're
dead.
recording a show.
Dead.
I spend every day at work on the web.
That's true. We do work at it.
This is insane. It is not. What are they talking about?
So if you read Wired magazine, the cover of Wired magazine this week says the web is dead. And like you, I was curious, so I flipped open there, and what I found was that they're talking about a difference in terminology between the web and the internet.
What different? I don't understand.
So the web is what you think of when you make, HTML pages where you read text and there's links in there. You click the link, it takes you to another web page. That's the web.
Okay.
And the internet is apps on your iPhone. The internet includes Facebook, like everything inside Facebook. It includes videos on YouTube, everything that you can do without a web page with a link in it.
So this seems to me like terminology to sell magazines. Like, the web is not dead. It's a fundamental part of our lives and the way we interact and live. And sure, phones are going to be a bigger part of it. But isn't Wired just like trying to sell magazines? Like, people are going to continue to make billions and billions of dollars from the internet.
Yeah, well, true. So from the internet, yes. Not from web pages, though.
Well, no, still from web pages. Google is not going to go away overnight.
Right, so it's not going to go away, but there will be basically what they had an interesting infographic.
Okay.
Which basically shows the amount of traffic that goes through worldwide web pages with regular links versus the amount of traffic that's been going through videos and apps. And back in its heyday, the web was up around 50% of all internet traffic.
Oh, see,
These days, it's down to like 22%.
See, I know this trick because I've worked in a lot of analytics before. That's a share of total graph.
Yes, that is a share of total graph.
So that means that the web
is dying as a percentage.
Which is not dying. It probably means the web is staying flat or likely growing. Okay. And these other things are simply growing faster and taking a bigger share of traffic.
This is pretty complicated.
This is not that complicated, but it does make me wonder.
The graphic was very persuasive.
I don't buy it.
Okay, the web is dead. Nice.
Okay, so
next headline.
Next headline. University of Massachusetts is opening the state's first public law school. University of Southern New England, which used to exist, donated its full campus to UMass Dartmouth, and the state is opening up a public law school. They're inaugurating their orientation of their first class this week. It's going to be the cheapest law school in the state, and the first one paid for by the state.
So this is going to be a Dartmouth school? Or
UMass Dartmouth. So UMass
Dartmouth campus.
Is one, yes, exactly. That's where it is.
So now I can go to Dartmouth and pay UMass rates?
As someone from out of the state, Tom, I think you're thinking of the wrong Dartmouth.
Okay, I see.
You can go to law school and pay state-level tuition rather than what's Harvard up to now. I think it's somewhere between $30,000 to $40,000 a year in tuition.
Yeah, right. And MIT, at least MBA school is,
Yep.
What is it, 80,000?
50,000.
If you include like the housing?
50,000 in tuition.
So why is this interesting?
So we're business school students, right?
Right.
Now,
I think so. You guys should go on the blog and tell us whether or not we are in fact business school students.
Yeah.
Actually, while you're at it, tweet us using #SloanTv and let us know.
Okay. So, look, there's about 5 major professional schools, right? There's business school, accounting, med school, law school.
Engineering?
And engineering.
Nice.
And we go to the one that requires the fewest prerequisites in terms of study and should supposedly make the most money.
Most money.
Now, everyone, you'd think, okay, this is great. Like, we have a chance to have people go into public interest law. That's what the state's saying, that we're going to give people an opportunity to go do public interest law. I'm Canadian. I love my immigration lawyer. He's the man who makes sure that I stay in this country.
I didn't even know you had a public immigration lawyer.
Believe me.
That's what it takes? Even from Canada, you have to have a lawyer just to be here?
It's so high risk, you just don't want to screw up any of the paperwork.
Okay.
And what they're saying is that this is great. This will be more lawyers. What's interesting is someone in business school, and you can appreciate this. Once you're in,
Okay.
You don't want a cheap option.
No.
Imagine if a really high-quality business school at half the price opened up down the road. What would happen?
Everybody would go there.
Everyone would go there. We'd have more MBAs.
There'd be tons of them. The market would be flooded with them.
And if the market's flooded, then the price that they're willing to pay us is going to go down.
Yeah, our value goes down.
So
if you have a law degree, maybe this is bad news for you. I don't know.
Exactly.
Tweet us and let us know.
And I think it reminds us that in every economic thing, we talk about these economic things as if they're good and bad. But really, there's two sides to all of these coins. Almost always, they're winners and losers, and it's about what's best for society. And in this case, I'm actually going to put a stake in the ground and say that for all my friends out there who are lawyers, and because all of them are going to law school and many of them are making less than they did after they graduated, and there's too many lawyers out there, the answer to this problem isn't cheaper law schools, it's fewer, more expensive ones.
Really? Fewer, more expensive law. So you're saying we'll put out less lawyers per unit time. So lots of people would agree with that. But
as someone who wants fewer lawyers, the way to do it and make the law profession, have less lawsuits and fewer lawyers, the way to do it is actually to make law school harder to get into and more expensive.
But who makes that decision? It sounds like that's anti-capitalism.
Well, there should be the invisible hand of the market making it happen. So I think inadvertently here, I've just argued that government's free market policies are interfering, well, not even free market, that the government is interfering with the hand of the market.
Maybe our viewers are the hand of the market.
Should they go to law school?
They should not go to law school.
Okay.
They should go to Sloan.
But we don't have to go to law school because, Tom, what's going to be happening to us pretty soon?
We are going to be rich and famous.
Oh, my dreams!
Tell me about
My dreams
this.
are finally realized. So
get ready for this one.
So
pull over the feed.
4 hours after we posted our show on YouTube last time. So after we recorded the show, because we were having trouble posting it with live stream, we uploaded it to YouTube, which is super easy. And I got this post from YouTube.
I love the opening line.
The opening line
wow, nice vids.
In bold, so you know it's a big deal. Hey, earlier today I was browsing through some of your videos, and I have to say I'm impressed.
YouTube is impressed with us.
This made me feel good. So at this point, the message is just from Bethesda Gorici.
Nice.
Earlier today I was saying I'm impressed.
Isn't that the CEO of YouTube?
I was puzzled by the fact that you had so few viewers. So few views. How come? I personally think that your videos are better than 99% of the stuff on here.
So at what point did you know this was spam?
I kid you not, I didn't realize this was spam until it got to. But in all honesty, I just wanted to let you know that you don't have to suffer from low view count. Here's a trial service that I tried out on my videos to send them a ton of views.
They're sending us YouTube Viagra. That's what this is. And you don't have to suffer from low views.
and Tom, can you explain why Tom got... So I was actually afraid to click through the link because it would destroy my computer, but Tom did. And Tom, who is our offer from?
YouTube LLC.
Excellent.
So it's a close. I believe it's a close affiliate of the real YouTube.
Yeah. So I was like, oh God, spam. If everywhere I go, even on YouTube, I've got spam.
And I got spam on Twitter the other day. So I get spam on email. We get spam on YouTube. We get spammed on Twitter. This is terrible, right?
But you didn't seem to think this was so terrible when
no, so we actually enjoyed this spam. This was enjoyable spam.
Speak for yourself.
Super spam.
So why was this enjoyable?
Well, that's the first email that we got. So it was like, hey, somebody actually saw the show, even if it was a spam robot.
So what does it mean from a business? What does it mean from a business point of view, though? Why are we talking about it?
So I guess it's interesting. The fact that we're getting spam on this channel, it indicates that there are enough people on this channel that it's worthwhile to do spam.
Huh?
So if you're a spammer, right, are you going to spam on a channel that earns you no money or makes you no profit at all?
Unless I guess I always thought spammers were evil, but no.
So like spammers are out there making a profit because this channel is working. So the fact that we're getting spam on it indicates that this channel is real and it's open.
So we're talking about the invisible hand of the market. So you're saying spammers are a sign that there's value out there?
Yes, spammers are an early indicator that a channel is about to open up.
Spammers and porn.
Spammers and porn.
Really interesting, actually.
Those go to together in multiple ways. It turns out.
I never thought of the positive economic value of spammers as an early indicator.
All right, so what do we got next?
Let's bring up some jargon.
Jargon. This is going to be our first of one of our regular occurring segments.
So
What
one
is
of
the
the
jargon?
so one of the things in business school that you hear a lot of is jargon. We get exposed to a lot of terms. I'm not clear how much is because we're in school and how much is because we want to build a secret code around business that helps make those degrees more valuable and as we're making sure that they're expensive and other people can't get them. But today our business jargon term of the week is pivot.
Pivot. So that means to me, turn in place. Like, that's a pivot.
Mm-hmm. To keep one foot planted on the ground
You
while
looked
you
it up?
move in another direction. This is actually from Eric Ries at Startup Lessons
Okay,
Learned.
nice.
This is an excellent resource if you're interested and especially interested in the pivot. And there's been a lot of talk in startup circles about the importance of the pivot because it turns out that almost no one gets their first business idea right. By going out to the market, you learn facts. And while we used to think that, getting our business plan wrong and having to change was a bad thing,
Right.
the pivot is all about the idea that it's actually a good thing. To pivot is to keep one foot planted, to learn from what you've done before, and use the other foot based on what you've learned to head in a direction.
Got it.
And again, I'm quoting Eric Ries here, but what a successful startup business is essentially, can you pivot fast enough to get to the right idea that's going to make you money before you run out of the money you got?
Got it. Huge lesson.
Yeah.
And it turns out, I learned out right before the show, actually, that Miro has written a paper on pivot, completely by coincidence. So I suggested pivot as the jargon term, and Miro was like, oh yeah, I wrote a paper on that.
Well, Tom, I've pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, that's true. I bet your hard drive is like a treasure trove.
We were talking about spam and porn earlier. Let me just say, yes.
So I always thought of pivot. The context that I always hear pivot in is I have a startup company.
Yeah.
I just got a bunch of money from some VCs, and my business plan, as I wrote it, isn't working. And now I need to change the business plan, but I'll never be able to sell that to my investors. So I'll just say that we're just not changing. We're just pivoting.
So I will argue not only is the pivot a good thing, it is a necessary and important thing, even though the term might partially have been coined to make it easier for VCs to accept and swallow.
Wait, so are investors more accepting of the pivot now than they were, say, 5 years ago?
I think they are. If you read Steve Blank, 4 Steps to the Epiphany, if you read Startup Lessons Learned, I think the modern startup, especially the web startup, where we have where it's a lot easier to change direction, things are a lot cheaper. I mean, we're putting a show together for virtually nothing.
Right.
With resources a lot cheaper, you actually can afford to make changes in direction, and part of your success is about how fast you change. When people talk about execution is key, I think what they're really talking about is a guised form of the pivot.
Okay. So I'm arguing pivot is a BS term, and you're saying it actually has legitimate value.
I think it's not only does it have legitimate value, I think the pivot is a fundamental concept for business and life. That even what looks like a 180 change, if it's based on what you've learned before and you're really incorporating those learnings, that's the path by which people succeed. You should not fear the pivot, you should embrace it.
I will yield, I'll yield. You seem pretty passionate about this.
I care about this week's jargon, I care about.
So what is the business tip of the week?
So the business tip of the week is...
Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, now what's the business tip of the week?
Bring value to people where they want it, and the rest will follow.
So examples of that would be, since the web is dying, now bring people video content and bring people apps.
Well, so I will quibble with you on whether or not the web is dying, but people are looking for content on their apps, they're looking for contacts on the phone, bring it there.
And we've got lawyers who want cheaper degrees.
People want to become lawyers, bring them value, and they will follow, and even follow the spammers. They go where there's some kind of value to be extracted, even if it's not from you, there's value for them.
So what's on your radar?
I'm going to Portland next week.
Portland, Maine, or Portland, Oregon?
Everybody asks me that. We're going to Portland, Oregon. We are going to eat our way through the finest locavore food and beer. I'm unbelievably excited. What about you, Tom?
I am recruiting the hottest startup companies in Boston for a class that I'm the TA for in the fall called eLab.
And how can these hot companies, what do these companies get out of it?
Excellent. So if you are a company in Boston, you're a hot startup, you can sign up for eLab, and we will pair you up with a team of Harvard and Sloan students who will work on your project for you.
Awesome. How do they get a hold of you?
So if you want, you can go to entrepreneurship.mit.edu/eLab.
Yep.
Or you can go to the SloanTv blog, and I will post a note about it.
Excellent.
So go to SloanTv.com, click on blog.
Excellent. Well, thanks everyone for watching this week.
I'm the real Tom Rose.
I'm Miro Kaz.
And come see us next week on
Sloan TV.